recent press conference, Amy Hansen, the search manager at Colchester Ground Search and Rescue, announced that the police in Nova Scotia were scaling down their search for missing preschoolers Lily and Jack Sullivan. This statement marked a dramatic shift in the ongoing efforts to find the children who had been lost for days. But don't let this news, or the apparent incompetence on display here, mislead you. I believe the Major Crime Unit of the RCMP knows exactly what they're doing. So in today's video, we'll take a closer look at a recent interview with a former Canadian police officer to help us understand why things might not be as they appear. This case has certainly sparked public curiosity and concern, but there's one crucial point I'd like to make before we dive deeper. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the eyes of the law. However, this isn't a courtroom. We are not judges, and we are not a jury. We are free to form opinions based on the evidence at hand, without the constraints of a criminal trial's beyond a reasonable doubt standard. And if we let those boundaries dictate our critical thinking, we would be surrendering our ability to think independently. So with that said, let's take a moment to listen to the expert insights shared by Chris Lewis, a public safety analyst with CTV. Chris, during your tenure as Commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police, you've dealt with many similar cases. What stood out to you about the RCMP's latest update, and what does it reveal about their investigation into the Sullivan children's disappearance? At the heart of this case, the real question is, could the reduction in search efforts be a sign of something far more serious than a simple missing persons case? Let's find out. Could the family know something that the public doesn't? Why would a mother leave the search area when her children might still be alive? These are the unsettling questions that emerge when we closely analyze the behavior of the Sullivan family in this case. Chris Lewis, a former police commissioner, shed some light on this issue when he reflected on his extensive experience with search operations. Yes, Todd, there certainly is something more going on here, Chris remarked. He explained that, throughout his career, he had seen many searches across Ontario, some successful, others not so much. The most striking aspect of this case, however, was the overwhelming sense that the RCMP knows more than they're telling us. I understand they can't disclose everything to the public, he continued, but there are leads they are clearly following, even if they can't reveal them just yet. This raises an important psychological and motivational question. Why would Malaya, the mother of these children, leave the search area? The idea that a mother could walk away from a search for her missing children, especially when there's still a possibility they're alive in the woods, seems incredibly out of character. It's not just unusual, it's a red flag that suggests there might be information the family has that isn't being shared with the public. The decisions made by the local police also speak volumes. The RCMP's decision not to issue an Amber Alert for the missing children and now reducing the search efforts might be seen as a sign of something more sinister at play. As Chris pointed out, this suggests that they have a strong theory in the works, one they are unwilling to fully disclose at this stage. Ultimately, the strange behavior of the family combined with the calculated actions of the police forces creates a complex and concerning narrative. It's a reminder that in cases like this, appearances can be deceiving, and there may be far more beneath the surface than we realize. Chris Lewis, a former police commissioner, raised an unsettling possibility during his analysis of the case. The children, Lily and Jack Sullivan, may have been abducted. He noted that when the RCMP mentioned they were scaling back the search, it hinted at deeper suspicions that weren't being fully disclosed to the public. This isn't just about two children wandering off into the woods. It suggests the possibility of something much more sinister. Chris drew attention to the fact that the police have specific areas they want to revisit. This is a significant development. Where exactly are these locations? He asked. Are they within the area they've already searched, or are they places they might have missed? In dense brush, it's easy to overlook a small child, which makes the idea of returning to certain spots quite logical. This also implies the RCMP suspects they may have missed vital evidence, something that doesn't sit well with a simple case of children getting lost. But perhaps the most telling indicator comes from the behavior of the parents, especially Daniel, the stepfather. Just 4 days after their disappearance, Daniel referred to Lily in the past tense during an interview. This was a subtle but alarming sign. Moreover, Malaya, the mother, left the area entirely. Most mothers, particularly those whose children might still be alive and lost in the woods, wouldn't abandon the search. This kind of behavior is not typical, and it speaks volumes about what the family may or may not know. The idea that the RCMP may be revisiting these areas because they suspect the children's bodies are there, hidden in the dense woods, their small bodies perhaps overlooked, is chilling. After all, these kids were just 6 and 4 years old. When the RCMP gets involved in serious crimes, it's not just about missing children anymore. The possibility of abduction, whether by someone known or unknown, is now a very real concern. As Chris said, there are many terrible possibilities. Let's see where this investigation takes us. The search for Lily and Jack Sullivan has been complicated by one significant challenge. The areas the police are searching are incredibly difficult to access. Dense, rugged terrain makes it hard to fully explore every possible location, which in turn makes it harder to confirm or reject various hypotheses. This is the harsh reality that search teams face as they try to uncover the truth, and it adds another layer of complexity to an already deeply troubling case. What stands out, however, is the level of seriousness and professionalism with which the police are approaching this investigation. Despite the reduction in the search effort, the involvement of the RCMP's Major Crime Unit signals that this is no ordinary missing persons case. The presence of high-level investigators, rather than just regular detectives, shows that they are treating the situation with the gravity it deserves. As Chris Lewis noted, the fact that specialized officers are involved indicates that the RCMP has some information they are not yet willing to disclose. Furthermore, when the stepfather Daniel suggested that the children may have been abducted, this statement didn't go unnoticed by the police. As Chris rightly pointed out, when a parent or suspect pushes a theory like this, especially one involving a stranger abduction, which statistically is the least likely scenario, it raises a red flag. The police would have immediately followed up on this claim, probing deeper into why Daniel thinks this way. Was it a sign of guilt, or was he simply directing the narrative away from the family? Such statements are critical. As Chris explained, unless there is evidence to suggest a kidnapping, the theory of an abduction is a massive red flag. This kind of premature conclusion without any solid proof suggests secret knowledge, or worse, that someone might be manipulating the investigation. As for the search efforts, it's clear that experienced searchers, equipped with the proper gear, are struggling to reach key areas. In their minds, these children couldn't have ventured too far from the search zone. The police believe they are on the right track, and their next steps will be critical in uncovering the truth. As we reflect on the developments in the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, several unsettling questions remain unanswered. While the reduction in the search effort might suggest that the authorities are shifting their focus, it also raises critical concerns about what they know and are not revealing. The involvement of the RCMP's Major Crime Unit, coupled with the speculation about possible foul play, indicates that this case is far more complex than it initially seemed. The behavior of the family, particularly the actions of the mother, Malaya, and stepfather Daniel, also continues to raise red flags. Daniel's comment about the children being kidnapped, made so soon after their disappearance, seems unusually specific, which might suggest hidden knowledge. Moreover, Malaya's decision to leave the area is something that most parents would never consider if their children were still possibly out there. As Chris Lewis noted, the nature of this case is evolving, and the clues we've observed so far only scratch the surface. The police are undoubtedly following leads, but will they find the crucial evidence needed to solve this mystery? The real question now is, what happens next? With more details yet to be revealed, we can only wait for the next step in this troubling investigation. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe for future updates.